What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today, guys, this week we had fun clowning on people playing dress up on the internet, but today we're getting back to serious conversations. We're going to be looking at the numbers because a couple of these ETBs have exploded this week. And you know what? I'm going to give you guys a gift. We're going to actually look at the spreadsheet data today. We're going to look at all of it and we're going to walk through it because a few really big things have happened. And we're going to start with Prismatic. We're going to go in reverse today. So Prismatic, you guys know it's come down. It's still holding around $100. And, you know, there are people saying this is going to MSRP. These Costco bundles, they're going to drop it all the way down to $60 an ETB. And guys, I just don't see it happening. When we look at the secondary market data right now, sure, the booster or the ETB is around $99. I clocked this last night around midnight. So it is a little bit different today. It's midday now. It's around $100-ish. And there are 603 ETBs listed below 118.68. If you guys don't know how I do the spreadsheet, I take market price from TCG Player. We do an arbitrary 20% leg up just to try and figure out like how many boxes are in a certain range. And for this box right now, it's 603, but they're selling at 124.86 boxes per day. 125 ETBs are selling buy it now, eBay North America. If you wanted to add in auctions, this number gets closer to like 140, 145. And that is ridiculous, right? If you look at the chart, the second closest ETB is Shining Fate, selling at 10 per day. And when you do the math, 603 divided by 124.86, that gives you 4.89 days of remaining inventory in theory before we'd get back to around $119 an ETB. Now, obviously, this doesn't work perfectly in practice because people will add more ETBs. There's more Costco bundles coming. But in general, right, when we've tracked the data, when this number gets closer to zero, and especially when it's under 10 days of remaining inventory, as you can see, it's under 5 too, which is even worse. This is when we see boxes start to move. And the conversation and the rhetoric on the internet from people that really don't actually look deep into the market data saying that this is going to get close to MSRP, you need probably another like 300, 400,000 ETBs to hit the market in order for us to actually get to that number. Because the Costco, apparently it was 80,000 bundles, right? That really hasn't done too much. Now, if there are more coming, maybe another 80,000 or whatever, sure, then we'll take a look, see what happens. But just based on what I'm seeing right now, I would not expect these boxes to drop much lower than $100. And I think they're probably going to start to rebound here in the short term. I mean, this number is ridiculous. This is the highest number we've seen since I think like late May. And also the supply, only 603 ETBs. That's about half of what it was in the middle of May when these boxes were around 120 USD. Now, if you guys think more Prismatic products are coming, we're going to see restocks at Walmart, Target, maybe even the Pokemon Center, and you're trying to snag some of those, look no further than today's video sponsor, PokeNotify. PokeNotify is a Discord notification group offering you the fastest notifications on drops, restocks, and deals on Pokemon product. They cover all the main regions of the world, Canada, the US, Europe, Australia. They cover all the main websites, the Pokemon Center, Walmart, Target, you name it, they're covering it. They're the main reason I managed to snag 50 ETBs at MSRP. MSRP, guys, not 140 an ETB, MSRP from Walmart back in early December and into January. So if you guys want to check it out, there's a 3-day free trial you can use. After that, it's $7.99 a month. You can also use the code PROFIT25 for 25% off your first month. I'll leave the links in the description down below in the pinned comment, and thank you to PokeNotify for sponsoring this video. Now moving on, we're going to jump to 151. Again, we're going to go backwards and talk about Hidden Fates last because I think that's huge. These ETBs, the regular ones, are about $140 now. I clocked them at $237.72 last night. You can see TCG Player middle of the day now, closer to $239, but a 20% leg up would be $285. There are only 34 ETBs listed below 285.26. Buy it now, eBay North America. And they're selling at 5.86 per day. We also had a sealed case sale this week for $2,550. That gives us about 5.8 days of remaining inventory. That again is quite low. And just based on what I'm seeing, the inventory on the site, how fast it's selling, it gives me confidence to say that these ETBs are going to continue to climb. We're going to see them jump through the 240s into the 250s over the next coming weeks. Now, this could slow down at any time and then we reevaluate. but based on what I'm seeing right now, they're probably going to continue towards $250. And the same thing is happening with Crown Zenith. These about 3 weeks ago, I said I was buying more of because when I looked at the data, Crown Zenith was moving from that like 15 days of inventory down to around 12 days of inventory. This week, we clocked it in at $168.75. There are 39 ETBs listed below 20% leg up, which would be 202.50. They're selling at 6.71 per day, which is quite high compared to a lot of these other more expensive ETBs. And that gives us 5.81 days of remaining inventory. So again, this has come down from 15 to around 5-6 days remaining. Look at Crown Zenith ETBs. I think these are going to be moving into the 170s, maybe even reach 180 over the next couple weeks. I think that's entirely possible. Now you guys can look at every other ETB as well here and, just get a good idea of what's going on. I think the only other notable thing to talk about this week is Paldean Fates. Up slightly, but the inventory is down. There was over 200 ETBs last week, now under 170, and the sell-through rate was up. I think it was 2.14 last week. Like, it was pretty low last week. Now it's up around 5.5. I don't know if that's going to continue, but it does put Paldean Fates within striking distance. I think part of that probably just has to do with Crown Zenith and 151 continuing to climb, and people looking at Paldean Fates around $135, $140 and going, yeah, maybe this is a little undervalued at this point. But the one box that I really wanted to talk about today that you're going to see in the thumbnail is Hidden Fates, because this thing has just jumped seemingly overnight. If you guys have been in the spreadsheet, this was around $300 for a while, and it was slowly creeping up. I think last week it was like 311, 307, something like that, like around $310. It's now close to 350, 346, 68. And if you actually go into TCG Player today, it's at 350, so it's gone up $4 since I clocked it around 12 hours ago. And I think by the end of next week, this will probably be closer to $400 on TCG Player if we don't see any lower sales. And some people might start to take profits because what's going on is crazy. And if we go to TCG Player, you can see here, there are sales over $400, 410, exactly at $400, 390, 400, 400. And that's all been within the past couple days. You can see here back on June 10th, you had lots of sales, 325, 311, 325, and then it was up into the 340s, 350-ish range. And this is exactly what we've been tracking in the spreadsheet. There really was not a lot of supply for Hidden Fates on the secondary market. So it made sense that if a few of those boxes started to sell, that we would see this price start to jump fairly drastically. And that's kind of the whole concept behind this 20% leg up, is that if there aren't a ton of boxes listed on the secondary market below it, if those get bought out, we can see that happen. And right now, with Hidden Fates, there are 18 boxes listed on eBay below $416.02, and they're selling at 8.71 per day over the past week. That gives you 2.07 days of inventory remaining. So I think this box, and again, things are probably going to change now. This week we saw that rapid growth. I think things will start to steady out. I think people will start to list some boxes and take profits. So I doubt this box jumps up to like $420. It could, by next week, it could jump up to $420. But if it levels out around $375, $380, I think that's kind of realistic. This is sort of a situation kind of like when we saw the Sword and Shield boxes move up, that you kind of have to pay attention to it every single day to see when that sell-through rate kind of slows down. If you just look at it a week from now, you never know what's going to happen. So my guess would be Hidden Fates is going to be around $380 next week, and it's going to start to level out. Some people are going to start to take profits, but it made a huge move from $300 up to around $350, $360, whatever number you want to call it. That's like a 20% gain over a couple week period. And as a lot of YouTubers talk about everything crashing and going to zero and genuinely believe it and push it on their fan base and, make them scared about the market, everything's slowly starting to climb again, right? Like Surging Sparks, this was another box that got reprinted. This was around $210 for a while. We're now sitting around $230 and it's selling fairly consistently in that range. Actually, most recent sales over the past 48 hours are closer to like $250, $240. So keep an eye on Surging Sparks. Twilight Masquerade, this is one that I said you guys probably should get some exposure to, just because I think it's kind of at that age. And it was at that price too where it made sense to buy it. It made absolutely no sense to me a month ago that this was cheaper than Obsidian Flame. So this is $255 now. And I think no one's talked about this over the past couple weeks on YouTube. But I've definitely been paying attention to it. If you guys bought some around $220, good job. I mean, ideally you would have wanted to buy this at $100 a year ago, but if you were waiting and expecting it to go lower, you missed out. And that's what we've been talking about for months on this channel, that a 5-second soundbite on someone else's channel does not capture, right? You can buy a little bit of everything. If it's high, whatever. If it comes down, you dollar cost average. That is just the nature of investing. But if you don't buy any, you could potentially miss out, right? People waiting for 151 last year, saying that ETBs were going to get reprinted, like me. Again, I didn't load up on 151. Look at it now, right? The ETB, the regular ETB, is close to $240. So if you didn't buy any at $60 because you thought they were going down to $40, you missed out on 250% return. And again, 151 last year, it was like what, less than a year old at times, a little bit over a year old, depending on when you clock it in. So it still had a long life cycle, but we're just not seeing ETBs hit the market like we used to in the Sword and Shield era. And that is why, with the market we're in right now, buy a little bit, but be ready to dollar cost average. Again, guys, you don't lose money until you sell, okay? Like, numbers go up, numbers go down, whatever. If you get emotional about it, you're probably not gonna last too long in this hobby. Here you guys go one last time. This is the data from this week for the regular ETBs. I also did the PC ETB update, so if you're in there, you can go check it out. Also, go check out Poke Notify, links at the top of the description. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great weekend. Stay safe wherever you are in the world, and I'll catch you in the next one.